Rev up for round 2 of the Shell Series from Barbagallo Raceway WA. A torture track built on a sea of sand with deep bunkers at every turn. Lose your balls here, and not even Tiger's going to drive you out.
Galanda got one in front of you.
In case you missed it, round 1 at Phillip Island was a ripper. 2 45-minute heats that tested tyres, teams, tactics and tempers to the max. Reigning champ Craig Lowndes lost an engine. Poor Mike Conway lost an entire car. And the blistering pace caused plenty of roasted rubber. Consistency was the key to Garth Tander's hard-earned victory. First blood to Holden, but Baird's Heat 2 success showed Ford is in winning form. So welcome to Perth and round 2 of the 2000 Shell Championship Series. Exclusive to your home of Y2K Motorsport. Network 10.
Have made the long trek across the Nullarbor to a place they used to call Wanneroo. Today it's called Barbagallo Raceway. Hello everyone, I'm Greg Rust and this is round 2 of the Shell Championship Series. And despite the Bureau's prediction of rain, a huge crowd is on hand here. They're still streaming through the turnstiles even as we speak, and they're eager to see all the action that's going to be on show here in WA today. Well, the championship point score after 1 of 13 rounds looks like this. Garth Tander top of the table on 108 points. The local ace keen to do well again here today. Mark Scaife just 6 points in arrears. Then it's a pack of hungry Ford drivers. Baird, Seaton, Radisich and Larkham. The defending champion Craig Lowndes in 7th place at the moment. And I can tell you also Russell Ingall, the enforcer. No points on the board thus far. Well, Barbagallo can be a place that can be really quite tough on drivers. And one of the legends of motorsport found out last year just how tough it can be.
Looks like a fairly even running finish. Great start. Glenn Seaton will lead them into the first turn. Then there's contact.
Look, Dick Johnson.
He's turned sideways. No idea who hit him. They all try and dodge him the best they can.
Oh, they did too.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
There's no doubt about that. That was a little bit of a surprise, wasn't it?
Well, with Barry Sheen busy with 500cc commitments this weekend, we welcome that man to the commentary box. Dick Johnson, great to have you with us.
Thanks, Greg, and as long as you don't expect me to talk like Barry.
No, we won't expect you to do that at all, mate. Now, I guess first and foremost, you're the team manager this year. How are you enjoying things on this side of pit lane?
Well, it's quite a bit different, I can assure you, and a lap time takes an awful lot longer behind the fence than what it does on the racetrack.
All right, we'll get some special comments from you in just a few moments' time. It has been a fairly controversial week in the lead up to Barbagallo. For those of you that may not have seen it, Neil Crompton was involved in a huge shunt in the support races to the Australian Formula 1 Grand Prix. Now, they have repaired the Ford Tickford Racing Falcon. He's racing this weekend. But Paul Morris, for his part in that crash, copped a $10,000 fine and was actually excluded from racing here at Barbagallo. He's since successfully appealed that decision and will be racing. The official's move is something that's livid Crompton.
He got away with it scot-free, so we'll just have to wait and see what CAMs do about that now on an internal basis, but it sends a very bad message to all competitors that you can behave like a thug and get away with it.
I was quite within my rights to appeal, have my appeal heard by an independent tribune, and I think they've made a fair and just decision. And if Neil or if anyone is not happy with the rules, well, maybe we should try and do something to change it, but you can only play by the rules that are put forward at the time.
Well, there you go, Dick. I guess you've heard both sides of the equation there. What do you think about it?
Well, once again, Greg, I think it shows that the inefficiency of the very antiquated CAM's judicial system. And when you get lawyers involved in these things, they get out on technicalities. And as Neil said, it's sending the wrong message to the competitors.
Well, let's hope we're not going to give the lawyers any more money today. Qualifying, though, yesterday was held in bright, beautiful sunshine. In fact, quite warm conditions. And that didn't hinder the pace of Mark Scaife. He walked away with pole position and a new qualifying lap record. Craig Lowndes, his Holden Racing teammate, will start alongside him on the front row. We go further back, Russell Ingall, Garth Tander on row 2, Jason Bargwanna in there as well, and Mark Larkham has confounded the bookies with that sensational time, the fastest Ford driver. Well, after qualifying yesterday, Mark Osler caught up with our pole setter.
Well, Barbagallo Raceway has proved to be a happy hunting ground for the Holden racing team over the last few years. Not only has Craig Lowndes got an unbeaten record here in the races, but by taking his pole position, Mark Scaife now makes it 6 pole positions in a row for the factory Holden team. You blokes got a love affair with this place.
You must know too many statistics, don't you? Hey? Yeah, look, I mean, the cars have always gone really well here for whatever reason. I mean, in yesteryear when we had Bridgestone tyres and probably a lot of the other teams didn't have, there was a reasonable, opportunity to have an advantage. But now that it's on a controlled tyre, obviously the car, based on everyone using the same tyre, is obviously working really well.
Now, the big question today is, can you knock Craig Lowndes off in the races?
Well, obviously he's had a great record here, and he's the sort of guy that he looks after the tyre very well because, obviously the record shows it, but in these cars, they're so powerful with small tyres that his record shows that he's very good at it. I think our car at the moment probably is a bit better race car than it was in qualifying, and I'd like to think that we'll be there in the hunt. If we make a reasonable start, we'll be okay.
Tremendous competition between you two. You're so close.
Oh, it is. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, if it's a test day or a race day or a qualifying session or whatever, we want to beat each other badly, but it's healthy, and the rivalry is fantastic for both of us and the team.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a look at the Barbagallo layout. Almost 2.5 k's in length, plenty of undulation here, and it's characterised, of course, by that main straight that runs both up and downhill. To talk you through the finer points, here's Neil Crompton in the FTR Falcon with the Ford inside line.
Greg, this is one of the greatest little tracks in Australia. Wanneroo Park, 2.41 kilometres. A track that's surrounded by the world's biggest sand trap. This is third one, around about 90 kilometres an hour, third gear, up to these very fast and exciting S's where you really toss the car from side to side in fourth gear. Back to third for this constant radius uphill positive cambered corner where you crest the brow here, about 170 odd k's. Plunge down the other side. It's a beautiful view, although you don't get much of a chance to look at it. Hard on the brakes, couple of bumps. Back to third gear. This is turn 6, cold corner. Now, this is a tricky one because the left rear tyre fries and dies at this track. You can feel the car squirming around as you use all of the road on the exit. Have a look in the mirror, check out the traffic. Fifth gear, sixth gear very briefly, and then super hard on the brakes. Back to third gear. It's a bit of an uphill gradient, so you can really brake late. Bit of a slip and a slide, up onto the ripple strip for the exit. Fourth and then fifth gear. It's a track that if you make it blue, you end up in the sand and it's all over, and you can look a little tomato red, and I have done it once or twice.
Let's hope he doesn't do it today. We're back, folks, to the 3-race format this weekend. There are 2 this afternoon. Race 1 was yesterday, and it was a beauty. Stand by. All the action coming your way right after the break.
Love lost here, the old Formula One sparring partners. Look at Perkins. Oh, there! Alan Jones managed to catch on. Larry's gone right off in the sand.
Australia's down here. Well, Romano's been trying to get past him and obviously may have got a little bit impatient. Oh, he's gone down the inside. Very painful. That was going to end in tears. Oh, and Variety's going to get stuck. He can get out of there, can he?
Some of the highs and lows and the thrills and spills that we have seen here at Barbagallo Raceway in recent years, and will this be another chapter that we can add to those mighty moments here today? Round 2 of the Shell Championship Series. Mark Scaife on pole for race 1. His teammate Craig Lowndes lines up alongside him. A sensational lap from Scaife. Garth Tander and Russell Ingall make up row 2.
Jason Bargwanna and Mark Larkham, the first of the Fords, 0.3 of a second behind our pole position man, Longhurst McLean. Good effort from the Greenfield Mowers car. Craig Baird and John Bowe rounding out that quartet of Fords.
Row 7, Paul Morris and Greg Murphy. We go further back, Glenn Seaton and Steve Ellery on row 9. Rodney Forbes in the Wins Racing Commodore row 11 alongside Mark Poole, and Paul Wheel and Dougal McDougall on row 12.
Full grid here, 32 cars in all. Brad Jones, boy, he's having a difficult baptism at V8 Supercars back there in 25th. Anthony Trapp, Thomas Mazira making the trip west, and Mick Donoghue rounds out the back of the grid. Quality field this at Barbagallo Raceway.
This is a 20-lap race, and the cars now making their way around the circuit for the warm-up lap. There's Paul Radicic we saw there a moment ago. quite high up in terms of the Fords here, but domination, Dick Johnson, in terms of qualifying from the Holden drivers.
Well, it certainly is. I can tell you that they did a fantastic job. You know, they've obviously dominated in qualifying in this particular racetrack for a number of years now. And to see 5 Commodores and then you've got 6 Falcons. So obviously there's a little bit more to be done with the Fords, I'd suggest.
Walker in-car camera. You're riding with Garth Tander, our championship leader. Drew first blood at Phillip Island in the opener in February. Had a very exciting race at the supports at the Grand Prix at Albert Park, but they were non-championship races. This is the one that counts in front of his home crowd. The boy from WA, just 22 years of age, leading the Shell Championship Series in 2000. Keep your eyes on the Valvoline Cummins car.
Big crowd here at Barbagallo today for race 1 on the Saturday. Of course, 2 races tomorrow, but this should be a beauty. There is Paul Radisich, the Shell Helix Racing Falcon.
How's he feeling, Dick? Is he confident?
Well, he certainly is. Like, Paul's one guy who certainly doesn't need any pumping up, I can tell you. He gives everything 110%. And it's amazing because, you know, sometimes when Paul gets out of the car, he looks like a brown rat, so to speak. But at the end of the day, as I said, he puts in 110%. And it's just a pity we can't put 120 litres in a 100-litre tank.
CUB on board. In-car camera with Brad Jones, the Aussie male Falcon. Made its debut at the Phillip Island opener. And Bradley a lot further down the grid than I guess he would have expected to be. Outside of the top 20. But that just shows how tough and competitive V8 Supercar racing is. The toughest touring car championship in the world, without a doubt. 19 cars covered by 1 second. We look at the Ford race analysis. 20 laps the distance, just under 50 Ks total. 32 cars on the grid. And Craig Lowndes been so dominant here. He has never been beaten in a V8 Supercar race at Barbagallo Raceway. Could this be the day that all changes?
3 times he's entered a Shell Championship round here, if you like, and 3 times Lowndes has walked away a winner. He's won 9 races in V8 Supercar terms at Barbagallo. There's John Bauer, the Be Clear and Simple onboard camera in the Cat Falcon.
Mark Larkham. Now, wasn't he a surprise earlier on? The Mitre 10 in-car camera. He was actually sitting right up on top of the order in the sessions earlier today, the untimed practice sessions. Got himself a little bit further down the order when the official qualifying was finished. Looking for a strong performance from the Mitre 10 car. Mark Larkham currently sitting 6th in the championship after Phillip Island. So a good points haul will be very good for the Mitre 10 team. There's our pole setter. A new qualifying record for Mark Skaife. This guy is so quick over 1 lap.
Word from pit lane is that Paul Romano will start from the pits in the Sabco Commodore, and all HRT front row. Green flag being waved, revs rising. We are getting set for round 2 of the Shell Championship Series. Skaife gets away. Lowndes a brilliant start as they head towards Cat Corner for the first time. Look at Larkham, a blinding start as well. And the Ford's trying to come through, but Craig Lowndes takes the lead into turn 1 for the first time.
Yeah, good traction.
Oh, we've got a Commodore going around. That's one of the Kmart cars. I think it's Greg Murphy. He's managed to hang on to it by the looks of things, but all crossed up there for a moment.
32 cars trying to funnel through this very narrow strip of bitumen. Keep our eyes on this difficult situation as they try and sort themselves out. Coming around the back over the hill for the first time. Looks like a relatively clean start to heat 1.
Dick, you talked before about the importance of having a tyre that's going to last a full 20 laps. I think we're going to see just who's made the best, I guess, setup choices with these cars very early on.
Well, it's not only that, it's just a matter of the setup that you got with the car, and the way you qualify is just paramount on a circuit like this, because the passing opportunities aren't that great. And what Craig has done here is put in a blinder first lap, and that's exactly how to lead a race here, because you can actually settle down and run your own race.
As Craig Lowndes has proved throughout his career, very, very fast on coal tyres. Look at the Biff and Barge going back in the pack.
That's old Big Kev having another shot at everything, I think, here.
Paul Morris really been in the wars after those races at Albert Park. Squeezes up the inside of the Greenfield Mowers Falcon. Baird wants a slice of the action too. Bowles going with him. There's one of the Kmart Commodores in there as well. It's tough stuff back in the pack.
Morris lifting wheels in the Big Kev Racing Commodore. There's Craig Baird locking up the inside front left. Baird, of course, the winner of race 2 at Phillip Island. But a little bit further back in the pack in this particular race. Up in front, Craig Lowndes is your leader from teammate Mark Skaife. Garth Tander in 3rd place, the local guy. And Larkham in 4th at the moment. So They work their way out of Cold Corner and up the hill. Let's take a close look at things. This is Paul Radicic. Talk us through this, Dick. I think one of the Kmart. In fact, it's Russell Ingall there.
It's Russell Ingall. He's getting shuffled out. The moment you understeer a little bit on the first corner, well, I tell you what, you just get shuffled all the way down the back.
So the order now: Lowndes, Scape, Tander, Larkin, Radicic, Ingall, Barbagallo, Steve Johnson, Longhurst and McLean. That's the top 10, but the Holden Racing team really getting a squirt on here.
It's a pretty common sight, isn't it? It has been over the past 12 months or so.
Well, certainly was a time there when Lowndes had much domination over his teammate on cold tyres in the opening laps. Scape now obviously working very hard on the setup of the car. He seems to be able to match Lowndes. He's going with him. Look at the Shell Helix race score at the bottom of your screen. Lowndes nearly half a second in front of his teammate Tander, though. They really dropped the Valvoline Cummins car on 2.2 seconds the gap after only 2.5 laps.
That is amazing, and you can see as they work their way along the straight there visibly how big that gap is. The two Holden Racing Team Commodores. Craig Lowndes, the defending Shell Series champion, leads from teammate Mark Scafe. This is the battle for third, and Mark Larkham applying all the pressure to the young gun, 22-year-old Garth Tander, championship leader at the moment, winner of round one. Larkham all over the back of him. The enforcer, Russell Ingall, is up there as well. So too Paul Radicic, and Jason Barbagallo just in the background.
There's a lot of fans to be wondering, Dick Johnson, why is it that a team like Holden Racing Team can come here year after year after year and be so dominant?
Well, when you understand the tyre as much as they do, because they've been on that particular tyre through their, obviously through the life of the car, and they've obviously struck on a setup that works very, very well at this racetrack, and it certainly is sort of showing that today.
Sure is. Big gap, 2.9, almost 3 seconds. Yep. 3 seconds the gap over this man, Garth Tander, who is leading a tremendous battle for third place that involves himself, Larkham, Ingall, Radicic, Barbagallo. They're all in there. So the Holden Racing Team taking advantage of this cut and thrust happening behind them. They're opening the gap every lap.
Tander under immense pressure as he works his way onto the start-finish straight once again. Mark Larkham in the background there, just in behind him. So too Russell Ingall. Look at them climbing the curbs. This is a real freight train. Paul Radicic, Jason Barbagallo, Stephen Johnson's up there. So too Tony Longhurst and Paul Morris as they stream through Cat Corner. And Tander leads the field.
Yeah, just an indication of his improved form. Garth Tander, when he came here last year, he qualified 11th and finished 13th overall after the round. Well, he's been on fire in qualifying, third fastest behind the Mobile Holden Racing Team cars, and now he finds himself leading the battle for third. Much improved performance from the youngster.
Up in front, of course, Lowndes and Scafe continue to hold stay. This is the battle for third. John Bowers had a moment there, coming across the top.
I think he's got more than a moment.
Yep, he's got smoke billowing from the back of the car. He's had some sort of mechanical failure. He pulls off the racing line, so that's a big disappointment for the Caterpillar team. What do you think the problem is there, Dick?
Well, it looks like there's obviously a fair bit of smoke coming from under the front of the car somewhere. It certainly doesn't look as though it's lost a lot of power, but I would suggest it's a sufficiently large enough problem where I think you'll find John will come into the pits.
So John Bow stays right off the racing line, probably pumping out a little bit of oil. The dramas, big battles up and down through the pack, but the lead remains the same. 3.5 seconds.
Rodney Forbes. Now he's had a moment there, just coming on to the start-finish straight in the Wins Racing Commodore, so no luck for young Rodney. And John Bow.
Great disappointment. The bonnet goes up. That's never a good sign. Any race, but particularly in a sprint round, you've got no chance then.
Well, certainly the way the race format is, he's got to start down the back of the grid next. So, you know, he's got his work cut out from down there, let me tell you.
3.5 seconds the gap that Lowndes and Scafe have opened up over Garth Tander. So the Holden Racing Team really monstering the opposition here in the opening heat. There it is, 3.56 seconds the gap. And Lowndes heading for a record 10th race win in a row if he can hold out his teammate.
Plenty of damage there. We saw a moment ago to Cameron McConville's Auto Pro Commodore, the Rod Nash Racing entry, so he's been in the wars early. Look at this, Mark Larkham fighting off a challenge from Paul Radicic as they work into Cat Corner. So Larkham now playing defensive. Ingall's gotten around him, and Tander retains the lead, if you like, in this battle for third place. He's been ahead in this battle for third for some time, because in the distance the two Holden Racing Team Commodores continue to gallop away.
Well, while the fight goes on for these minor placings, the other guys have just been able to settle down and go and get out and go for it.
There's a closer look at what happened to Rodney Forbes there, just coming on to the start-finish straight. Dick, talk us through this.
Well, he obviously gets in there and he's obviously locked his rear brakes up, and like when you lock the rear brakes, you really it just pivots around the radiator drain plug then.
It looks like stuck in the sand. John Bowe apparently back in the race. Steering fluid leak onto the exhaust system, maybe something in the engine pumping out a lot of oil. Apparently they've plugged that gap, so let's hope John Bowe can continue without any more mechanical problems.
See, Ingles got around Mark Larkham, and now he's sort of coming up on the back of Tander, so this could be fairly interesting.
Dick, when you've got 19 cars covered by a second in qualifying, I mean, the opportunities to pass must be so difficult. Is it just a game of intimidation? You've got to fill up the mirrors of the car in front and try and make a mistake.
Well, you've got to be able to drive quick enough so the guys behind don't exactly run over the top of you, because when they get that close, you start to really sort of press on like Mark is there, and you lock a wheel, you flat spot a tyre, and all you can do is hear this tyre flapping going down the straight. You think to yourself, well, boy, is it going to go bang or what's going to happen? Because it's not a good feeling either.
3.6 seconds the gap. Holden Racing team have opened up 1/10 of a second over Tander as he holds up this freight train behind him. This battle for third involves a number of top cars. Lowndes a 58.91. Skate 58.8, Tander a 59. So this is what you said, Dick Johnson, before the race. You're probably going to see the race pace slip out and go a little bit slower.
As they work through Cold Corner.
Well, it certainly looks as though Mark's using fourth gear through there, being down around 5,000 RPM. We'll go up to fifth gear now and sort of run over the top of the hill. So that corner's just so important. It looks like he's covering his line here because somebody's having a shot at him, which would probably be the rat, I'd say. Start-finish line down to turn.
Yeah.
Paul's just got underneath him, and when you get underneath somebody like that, you've got to be very careful that you don't actually get to a point where you understeer yourself off the road and get retaken.
Well, you can see that he was moving over to take a conservative line as he braked down toward pit straight, because Radicic was applying the blowtorch behind him. He got through too, so Radicic moves up another position, puts him up to fifth. Behind that quartet of Commodores, Lowndes, Scape, Tander and Ingle up ahead of him.
He's now coming up.
Having a go down the inside here on Larkham, into Cold Corner, and Barks is through. So in the space of half a lap, Larkham has fallen back 2 places.
He's obviously, his tyres are obviously starting to get soft on the back, because that's the problem. Your actual car setup is so important here.
Let's have a look at the Shell Helix replay of this passing move. Talk us through this, Dick.
Well, Mark got himself up on the curb there and lost a bit of speed coming out of the turn, which allowed Paul to sort of duck down inside him, and now Tander's looking at having a shot here, but he's too far behind.
In terms of a race pace now, most of the drivers into the 59s. Lowndes a 59.32 last time around. Scape a 59.16. They are 1 and 2 on the road here at Barbagallo at the moment. Garth Tander in third place, Russell Ingle in fourth. But Craig Lowndes is holding stay at the moment.
Look at the gap they've opened up on the Valvoline car, though. 4 seconds. Holden Racing team really rubbing their noses in it at the moment.
Let's take a look at them for you. We've had a
Steve Reed, is it?
Trevor
Steve
Ashby,
Reed.
I think, has gone off. And Donaher taking evasive action there in the TDK Ultra-Tuned Commodore. Craig Lowndes, top of things from Mark Scape. Garth Tander in third at the moment. Russell Ingle in fourth. Paul Radicic, Jason Barguana, Mark Larkham in seventh. Stephen Johnson eighth. Tony Longhurst ninth. Paul Morris 10th. Can Craig Lowndes retain the lead and go on to win 10 races from 10 starts here at Barbagallo? Welcome back to Barbagallo Raceway. The Holden Racing team 1 and 2 at the moment in race 1 of round 2 of the Shell Championship Series. Lowndes leads from Mark Scape. Hard luck for John Bowe. He's in pit lane, and the word is he will be out for the rest of this race. There's some sort of mechanical problem for the Cat team, and Bowie undoing the seatbelts.
Yep, never a nice sign. Caterpillar 14, big disappointment for John Bowe. But this is amazing. 4.3 seconds. They're pumping the lead out every lap by several tenths of a second. Just showing the dominance of the factory Holdens at Barbagallo Raceway, but the big interest here is can Scaife topple his teammate, because Lowndes is on a roll. 9 race wins in a row, never been beaten in a V8 Supercar at Barbagallo Raceway. Can Scaife break that this afternoon? Apparently power steering problems persisting with the Caterpillar Ford. We just hear from the pits, so time to put it back in the garage to see if they can fix it for Heat 2.
Dick, we're on lap 13 of 20. We can see as they come down the hill here how big the gap is between Scaife to Garth Tander. What can Garth do about trying to reel these guys in?
Well, the thing is that Garth is not exactly being attacked from behind, so he really has a clear track, but those guys in front are just stroking their cars along to get to the finish, so I don't think he can do an awful lot about it at this point in time.
Look back through the field for you. Mark Larkham coming under pressure now from Stephen Johnson. Tony Longhurst in the Caltex Haviline Ford. There's Paul Morris in the big Kev Commodore. So a bit of a train building up behind the Mitre 10 car. You're looking back from behind Mark Larkham. This is roughly what he's seeing in his rearview mirror.
Oh, no. Problems there. Baird's gone off. So too John Faulkner in the Asia Online Commodore. Now Baird is parked precariously there on the exit of Cat Corner, trying to make his way towards the S's. That's where Trevor Ashby's gone off as well.
And that's a very similar position to that very car was 12 or 18 months ago when it was here.
Don't remind them.
The poor thing.
No, Baird very exposed there, the outside of the circuit. We've seen a number of cars come off on that corner. Lap 14 of 20. So the Pertec Ford is stuck. Now, will we see safety car come out here?
It would be an interesting scenario.
Now the safety car, we're being told, has come onto the circuit. There it is.
So they consider that too dangerous, leaving those cars there. So the cars will come under formation behind the safety car. They'll clear up those wrecks before they return to green flag full racing conditions, which will allow Tander to close the gap right up on the Mobile Holden Racing Team duo. Monroe safety car leads them around, lights flashing. Beautifully presented Commodore there.
I think this is just the break that Garth Tander really needed. And the same with Mark Scaife.
Exactly.
It's going to be a very interesting restart.
So talk us through what happened here, Dick.
Well, we look as though he's gone underneath him, and then and Faulkner's obviously understeered out and shoved him off both of them off the road a bit, and they've gone to the beach for a while.
Definitely a collision between the two cars there. Faulkner kept his foot into it though, managed to drive out of the sand, but Baird not so lucky. He got hooked up on the side of the track. Paul Romano on the Shell Helix replay. What happens here?
Oh, I don't think that's the B pillar. That's more like the C pillar.
That's not in the rule book.
I think Paul's going to be visiting a shed up the back.
Now, bear in mind, folks, that the first 5 laps of this safety car period do not count. There's Craig Baird.
Baird into the pits. We've got a problem here.
I would say it would be full of sand.
Got him out of the sand.
All right, we are away and racing once again. The safety car is off, and we have a green light racing again at Barbagallo. Craig Lowndes remains in the lead. We have 6 laps remaining. 6 laps remaining in this one. In second place, Mark Scaife, but things all closely bunched up. Look at Stephen Johnson giving Mark Larkham the hurry up as they exit Cat Turn, and the field stream through the S's now.
That's what you call applying maximum pressure. Great shot on the Channel 10 cameras there, right in. You can just see the rear bumper of Larkham's car flexing under the pressure from Stephen Johnson saying, get a move on. Got Tony Longhurst breathing down my neck. Steve has a run down the inside. He's going to get him under brakes. Oh!
Steve had a look there, and Larkham shut the door, and Longhurst is looking for any sort of opportunity here. Look at Longhurst coming on the inside of Stephen Johnson now. They run up the hill, these two side by side. Longhurst has got the inside running. And some dirt and dust on the track. Paul Morris is in there as well. So too Cameron McLean. Down the hill, Longhurst has got Stephen Johnson. And now out after Mark Larkham.
What happens there, Dickie? Plenty of pressure coming down the hill.
Well, yeah, you know, Longhurst is doing this normal old trick of using every bit of the road, which is normal. With 5 laps to go, it's going to be a very interesting 5 laps.
Well, Garth Tander got a second win here right up behind car 2. Mark Scaife, our pole position man. Lowndes is scampering away like a scalded cat as he tends to do. Now Scaife has to contend with the Valvoline Cummins car. Only a few laps remaining in this Heat 1. That safety car period has really opened it up.
Tander right in touch now with Mark Scaife as we count down to the finish of race 1, round 2 of the Shell Championship Series. Lowndes has managed to pull clear of his teammate, But Scaife is, well, under a lot of pressure from Tander. We hear that Craig Baird has rejoined the circuit. For our Kiwi viewers that are watching through TV1 in New Zealand, I'll be pleased about that. But look at Tander all over the back of Scaife now as they work towards the start-finish straight. Once again, there's a shot of how Lowndes has pulled out. Have a look at this. Talk us through it. Dick Stephen applying the thumb screws to Larko.
Well, I think Mark is obviously covering his line very well indeed. And when you go in low like that and you miss your run out of the corner, of course, Tony Longhurst has seen this all happening, so he actually... Well, yeah, okay. We'll pass on that one.
But he managed to back out of it okay. He's got a little bit of damage to the front left-hand corner of the Shell Helix Ford, but he's powering on okay.
Russell Ingall getting a little taily in the background. The Enforcer currently in 4th place and under a lot of pressure from Paul Radicic. So lots of things could happen as we work towards the finish of this one. Garth Tander, the 22-year-old, the kid from Western Australia who wants to do big things here this weekend in front of the hometown crowd. Can he get around Mark Scaife? I don't think he's going to be able to challenge for the lead. Look at Tander trying to make a move here. Radicic's playing defensive with Tander's teammate Jason Barbagallo, who sits back in 6th place at the moment. We have 3 laps remaining as they come across the start-finish line this time around.
Well, the key thing here too, Dick Johnson, I'm sure you'd be aware that how important it is to get those points, to keep those points coming in. And Tander sitting back there in 3rd position. It'd be nice to challenge for the lead, but a 3rd place is another big bag of points as he tries to build up a championship, potential championship winning performance.
Well, that's what winning championships is all about, is gathering points while you possibly can. It's all very nice to win races, but to win races and to win championships, you've got to keep finishing them.
Garth Tander, very mature head on younger shoulders. He was a wild man when he came into V8s, but he really has settled down under Gary Rogers' tutelage. And he is now a genuine championship contender in 2000. This is a bit further back. Longhurst just locking the brakes.
Well, that tyre will end up like a 50-cent piece, I reckon.
Yeah. As he approaches the fastest part of the track, 250 kilometres an hour, flat out in 6th gear as they approach this turn, this uphill braking section. There's Cameron McLean in behind the big Kev Commodore Paul Morris. 2 laps remaining. You can see the field strung out behind there. All sorts of battles going right up and down the field in V8 Supercar racing, as we've come to know. Oh,
Neil Crompton there and Mark Poole in the John Deere Racing Commodore battling away. Not a good weekend thus far for the Ford Tickford Racing operation. Seaton currently 16th, and Crompton languishing by his standards back in 21st at the moment. The field stream again through the S's. Larry Perkins in there, both the Kmart Racing Commodores. Our Bathurst winners, Greg Murphy, his teammate Stephen Richards in behind him. But out in front it is Craig Lowndes from Mark Scaife. Garth Tander sits in 3rd place and throwing out a real challenge to Scaife.
What a way to celebrate his birthday this weekend. Larry Perkins and under fire.
Oh, under plenty of fire here too.
Murphy up the inside, so close. You couldn't get a razor blade between them now. Who's going to win the sprint up the hill?
Well, once you get up the inside over there, I think she's all over Red Rover for Larry. And if he's not careful, he's going to lose another one.
Last lap board being shown to our leader, Craig Lowndes. Will he go on to win his 10th V8 Supercar racing from 10 starts? Look at this, though.
How close do you like it? Larry Perkins, the beat in the Kmart sandwich. He's coughing up from both directions.
He might be 50 years of age, but he certainly has lost his...
His aggressive style, as he knows. Keen to hang on to that position. Here is your race leader, folks, and doing a terrific job. Craig Lowndes from teammate Mark Scaife. Holden Racing Team 1 and 2 on the road at the moment. A very consistent and level-headed performance once again from Garth Tander. He sits in 3rd, and if he stays there, more valuable points in the bag.
Well, Dick, as you said earlier, there is a real art in qualifying and a real art in racing. It looks like Lowndes has got the edge on Scaife in race trim this time.
Well, he certainly has at this point in time, and when you see the times now, they're really starting to drop off, aren't they?
Yep.
For the final time, Craig Lowndes brings it down the hill. And look at this battle going on here. Radicic and Ingall. Oh, goodness me, there's a bit of contact there between Russell. And look at this, Jason Barbagallo comes along for the ride. Congratulations, Craig Lowndes takes it out from Mark Scaife. 3rd place is Tander. Ingall under pressure all the way from Barbagallo. And you got to feel sorry for the Rat. The Rat was the big loser in that one.
Well, you're not wrong, actually. That's a pretty dirty play, really, when you look at things like that. There's plenty of room there for 2 cars. And he was never any challenge, I don't think.
So he had the elbows out.
Well, I think, you know, there'll be a tit for tat. There's still 2 races to go.
Long way to go, Barbagallo.
He's got a pretty good rim, let me tell you.
The Rat is back right in the thick of things. 6th fastest. 6th position, I should say, after that little scrap. There's Garth Tander, 3rd place today. Good way to open his account. on home soil behind the Mobile Holden Racing team, but he'll be wanting to be a couple of positions better than that by the end of this weekend.
We'll check him out for you in a moment. Craig Lowndes, your winner from Mark Scaife. There is your championship leader, Garth Tander. At the moment, won at Phillip Island, and more valuable points for him after race 1 here at Barbagallo. Craig Lowndes waves to the crowd. 10 race wins from 10 starts in V8 Supercar racing. Mark Scaife second, Garth Tander third, Russell Ingall fourth, Jason Barbagallo fifth. We go further back through the pack. A good job by Stephen Johnson. Paul Morris sneaking inside the top 10. Greg Murphy battling all the way with Larry Perkins. We go further back, Neil Crompton and Cameron McConville. What a great start from Craig Lowndes to win race 1. Russell Ingall, Jason Barbagallo and Paul Radicic in the thick of things. On the last corner, Paul Radicic, the big loser in that one. Ingall and Barbagallo moving themselves one further forward. Let's check the results at the end of race 1 for you. The man at the end of it, Craig Lowndes and Mark Scaife, a HRT 1-2. Great job by Garth Tander, the local boy, finishing in third place. A couple of interesting points for you as well. Craig Baird, John Bow, and of course John Faulkner, who you can see highlighted there, finished well down the grid. Mark Osler is with our race 1 winner.
10 wins from 10 starts at Barbagallo Raceway. Your teammate out-qualified you, but you show you are still the force to be reckoned with in race trim.
Thanks, Mark. I guess it come down to the start, really, the race. We were tag teaming each other. We were virtually nose to tail the whole race. When that safety car period came out, it was very interesting. Obviously, tyres had started to go away. I think hopefully everyone else had as well. So we sort of just pulled that little gap again and just sort of held that. But really, there's nothing between our two cars.
How are the tyres hanging in there? You've got another 2 heats to go.
Yeah, we've only got another 4 tyres, one more set to come. It's really like the car is going very well. It's using the tyres, but it has been a hot day.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Mark.
Here is the latest in the gallery of V8 Supercar shots. Russell Ingall at Phillip Island. It's beautifully framed and autographed, of course, by the enforcer. Just $195 plus postage and handling. Don't delay. Get on the phone right now and dial the number on the bottom of your screen for the fabulous Castrol Commodore. Let's check out the grid for you as they line up for the second race today. 20 laps the distance. Craig Lowndes and Mark Scaife on the front row. Row 2, Garth Tander and Russell Ingall.
Jason Barbagallo and Paul Radicic start out of row 3. Mark Larkham, another Ford of Tony Longhurst, they'll start out of 4.
We go back to row 5, Stephen Johnson alongside Paul Morris. Then it's Cameron McLean and the Bathurst winner, Greg Murphy.
Larry Perkins and Stephen Richard alongside Paul Wheel and Glenn Seaton way back there in 16.
Steve Ellery and Dougal McDougall on row 9. Row 10, Steve Reed and Mark Poole.
Neil Crompton having real problems with the setup on that car. Cameron McConville, Brad Jones also struggling for setup on the Falcon. And Rodney Forbes back there in 24th position.
We go back to row 13, Anthony Tratt in the Toll Racing Falcon alongside Thomas Mazira. Then it's Mick Donoghue and Craig Baird.
Trevor Ashby and John Faulkner. Paul Romano and John Bow after those power steering dramas in Heat 1. He's back for Heat 2.
So that's how they line up for the second race of the day. Dick Johnson. Holden dominating at the moment. Can the Ford boys get up there?
Well, obviously a lot of the guys have changed their setup for today, so it'll be very interesting to see. But there's a huge advantage around this racetrack starting from the front row, and the HRT have dominated the front row here for some time.
Yeah, can anyone stop them? It really is their favourite playground. If someone is, this is probably one of the likely candidates, Paul Radicic. Johnson Racing making a few changes overnight. Looked very good in the warm-up this morning. So can Paul Radicic turn the tables on Holden Racing Team, but they've got this critical front row starting position. John Bow. Power steering problems yesterday in the Caterpillar Ford. Great disappointment for the team. They fixed that overnight. He's going to start from way down the back of the grid. He's got a lot of work to do today.
Word from pit lane is that track temperature today is cooler than it was yesterday, and there's a bit of a cool breeze about as well, so it will be interesting to see just how well things go. We saw Mark Larkham dropping back through the field yesterday, qualified very well in the Mitre 10 Falcon, but as the back tyre got a little too hot, he dropped back through the field. Look at that, an all Holden Racing Team front row. 10 times Craig Lowndes has entered a Shell Championship race here, and 10 times he has walked away a winner, undefeated in V8 Supercar terms at Barbagallo Raceway. Waiting for a green flag at the back of the field. Officials just pushing one of the cars back into position. Looks like possibly Trevor Ashby. And then we'll be underway and set for a start. Get ready, folks, here at Barbagallo. Will it be Lowndes? Will it be Scaife? Lowndes got the upper hand in race 1. Who is it in race 2? Red lights ablaze. An all-red HRT front row. We're away. Lowndes gets another blinding start. So too Mark Scaife. Look at the enforcer. Russell Ingall blinding off the start line and gets past Garth Tander, who's getting chased by his own teammate, Jason Bargwanna.
Well, we all hold our breath as this big field funnels through the first turn. 32 cars in all. They're going to sort themselves out. That great aerial shot shows it. Side by side as they come up through the S's the first time around. It looks like another relatively clean start as they swing around up the hill for the first time.
Looks as though there was a bit of contact between the teammates, Jason Bargwanna and Garth Tander. Tander got the upper hand as they came through Shell Corner.
What can Mark Scaife do about this, Dick Johnson? He got beaten second time off the start. Craig Lowndes, clean pair of heels.
Well, the secret of these 20-minute races is to get a very, very clean start. And if you get fresh air in front of you, the engines work better because the air's cooler. And you can just settle down and do it at your own speed.
The field streamed down the hill. Look at them, a big move here by Mark Poole. On one of the Optus entries, I think you'll find that was Steve Reed at the back of the pack, the Samco Commodore of Paul Romano. Look at Scaife trying to put the pressure on Lowndes, and look at this, Paul Morris with the Caltex Haviline Falcon all over the back of him. Tony Longhurst chasing Morris.
Morris finds himself in the top 10 the first time around. The order is Lowndes, Scaife, Ingle, Tander, Bargwanna, Radicic, Larkham, Johnson, Paul Morris up there in 9th position, and Tony Longhurst in the Haviline Ford rounds out the top 10. Behind him, Greg Murphy in the Kmart machine, Cameron McLean, Stephen Richards, Glenn Seaton, Wheel, Perkins, Ellery McDougall, Reed back there too, and Mark Poole rounds out the top 20.
Tony Longhurst fired up about his association this season with Stone Brothers Racing. He exits Cold Corner for the run up the hill, chasing Paul Morris in the Big Kev Racing Commodore. Morris has been in the thick of things all week, and look at this, Longhurst all over the back of him now. Morris playing defensive as they head towards the start-finish straight.
Yeah, for a guy so new to the scene in his own car and his own team, he's quite impressive speed here as Tony Longhurst has a sniff up the inside. He's going to go hard under brakes, side by side as they break into the turn, and Longhurst has got him. Morris might be hung out to dry.
He's going to get hung out to dry, right?
Yep. Pulls it back on the racing line, manages to shut out the Kmart Commodore.
It's a pretty good effort by Morris, really, because he's in some fairly good company there, I can tell you.
Yep, it really is quite an impressive debut speed-wise.
Well, if he can get his head round racing rather than running into people, I think he'll do a great job.
There's your order, unchanged. Craig Lowndes at the front of the field from Scaife, Ingle, Tander. Look at Murphy having a look at Paul Morris here. Down into Cold Corner. Morris shuts the door.
Yeah, I was talking to the Kmart team yesterday. They were in all sorts of bother. They didn't quite know which way they were going to go and set up. They made some changes to the car last night. Look how close Scaife is behind his teammate. He couldn't get past Lowndes in the first heat yesterday afternoon. Let's see if he can turn the tables this morning. But Russell Ingle right up with the Holden Racing team duo in this one.
In the background too, you could see very briefly the Gary Rogers Motorsport teammates battling away. Paul Radicic has managed to get the upper hand on Jason Bargwanna. Tander sits at the moment in 4th place. Radicic now up to 5th.
John Bowe pushing hard in the cat forward, but he's got a lot of work ahead of him.
He's got plenty of work ahead of him. I've been there, I know what that's like. It's terrible.
Here's Craig Lowndes, the man of the moment. Perfect record at Wanneroo.
He's giving it everything too.
He really is pushing hard. Scaife would be applying the pressure too.
I think Mark's really looking forward to having a bit of a win here because he needs to sort of grab a few more points.
Yep. We saw what happened last year when Lowndes got that big win at the Adelaide 500. It really did destroy Scaife's chances. This year the points score maybe a little bit more equitable. Looking at the back of Paul Radicic's car, Shell Helix camera takes you right into the heart of the action. He's got Garth Tander up behind him, but Jason Bargwanna, I should say. So the Valvoline team putting the squeeze on the Shell Ford, and once again, Paul Radicic, the fastest of the Falcons.
Not too far in the background there also Mark Larkham and Stephen Johnson. This is what's happening at the front of the field. Craig Lowndes from Mark Scaife. Russell Ingle sits in 3rd place. This enthralling battle continues for 4th. Garth Tander holding out the hard-charging Paul Radicic, and Jason Bargwanna coming along for the ride as well.
The in-car camera in the meat in the Valvoline Cummins sandwich. The Be Clear and simple onboard telemetry. You're riding with Paul Radicic. As look at the speed on the right-hand side of your screen, almost 250 kilometres an hour before they brake hard for this corner onto pit straight. Looks like hard work out there, Dick Johnson.
Well, it certainly is, and the temperature that inside these cars is quite alarming at times. It gets up over 60 degrees C, so it's like exercising in a sauna. Just let a few laps go by and see what happens with the tyres, because even though it's cooler today, the tyres still really get a hard workout around here.
And a lot of the teams have been saying, particularly that left rear tyre.
Well, the left rear tyre through this particular corner here, which is cold corner coming up onto the main straight, the tyre is loaded for such a long time with your foot flat on the floor.
And there's a lot of pressure now on Radicic from Barbagallo in car 35. He's right up behind the tail of the Shell Ford. There's Larkham sitting in behind him, and Stephen Johnson. Good strong performance from Junior this weekend. He's up there in 8th position. Just shadowing his teammate who's a few positions up.
We can see that Jason Barbagallo is having a crack at Paul Radicic, and he dives down the inside. We go on board with Paul Radicic, and Barks gets through. So the Gary Rogers, Valvoline Cummins Commodore of Jason Barbagallo on fire at the moment. He has moved himself past Radicic.
7:30 tomorrow. If you 7:30 tomorrow.
Well, it's a very important race for Jason Barbagallo. Keep in mind he hasn't got any points after Phillip Island. Wasn't a good way to start the championship. He qualified 12th here last year and finished 19th. This is a much better result for the Valvoline Cummins driver this weekend if he can hold it all together. But now Radicic in behind. Mark Larkham maybe closing the gap a little bit to the back of the Shell Ford. So the order now, Lowndes, Scape, 1.6 seconds the gap to Ingle. Tander, Radicic and Barbagallo. Of course, that great scrap there, but Barbagallo got him last time around. Mark Larkham.
Look at Paul Radicic having a crack here. Barbagallo got very taily on the entry to the start-finish straight. Radicic all over the back of him can sense an opportunity.
You've only got to make a very, very small mistake here.
Well, after taking Radicic, he's not getting away from him. Come up through the S's. Let's have a look at the Shell Helix replay.
And this is a look at the passing manoeuvre that Barbagallo made on Radicic.
Yes, well, he's gone over on the right-hand side of the circuit, and Paul, being the gentleman he is, didn't push him off the road.
He gave him racing room, but he's right back on the bumper. Barbagallo has not been able to pull away from the Shell Helix Ford the last time around. And a very competitive run from the Mitre 10 Falcon of Larkham. He qualified well, and he's continuing that form in the race. The Mitre 10 Ford looking strong.
Radicic, the best of the Falcons on the circuit at the moment, in 6th place.
I think Barbagallo's got problems.
Barbagallo has dropped a couple of positions. They were looking for him, but he's actually gone back a couple.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether he made a mistake or whether he's got a...
Well, you've only got to make a small mistake in this market, and you get shuffled down the back of the pack so quickly.
Stephen Johnson in the background there. We saw Dick under a bit of pressure from Tony Longhurst in the Caltex Haviland Falcon. You ride aboard the Mitre 10 Falcon with Mark Larkham, who is in behind Paul Radicic at the moment. 5th and 6th place respectively. There's Radicic out the front. And we look back, there is Jason Barbagallo, who's had some sort of dilemma and is now trying to find his way back forward.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's slowed down too much, but he just made a slight little mistake there to allow those two cars to get back in front of him.
I reckon he would have made a mistake here on this corner, and a few cars have gone past him up the straight.
Yep. So full throttle up the hill, 250 kilometres an hour, flatten 6 gear as they come over the top. They brake hard for pit straight once again. So Larkham now with his mirrors full of the Valvoline Cummins machine. Stephen Johnson in behind him in the second of the Shell Fords. And Paul Morris has dropped back in the order. Tony Longhurst is on a real charge. He now fills out the top 10.
Morris has dropped back probably under the weight of Kev, I
think. Stephen Johnson remains under pressure from Tony Longhurst. We are at half race distance, folks, lap 10 of 20. And the fastest man on the circuit last time around, Paul Radicic, a 58.73. So the Shell Helix Ford certainly going very, very well at the moment. So let's recap them for you, folks, as they stand here at Barbagallo at the moment. Craig Lowndes from Mark Scape, Russell Ingle and Garth Tander. Paul Radicic doing great, like a driver error.
Just unfortunately got the back wheels locked up going into the turn, coming onto the main straight.
Here we go again. We are racing, folks. Craig Lowndes leads the field from his teammate Mark Scape, but the gap to everyone else is now bunched up nice and close. Russell Ingle in 3rd, Tander in 4th. First to the Fords is Paul Radicic.
I think Russell Ingle will be very encouraged by the performance of his car in this second heat. Those Holden Racing Team cars only opened up about 1.5 second gap over him before the safety car came out, so the performance of the Castrol car here far more impressive than we've seen the previous weekend.
It certainly is, and it's amazing to see. There's about 3 or 4 Commodores up the front, and then there's a string of Fords.
So Lowndes leads the field down into Kolb Corner. Race one yesterday, just as we've seen him do so many times in the past, and his teammate Mark Scaife, up until that safety car period, really had thrown a great deal at him. But Ingle now has dropped out of the clutches of this leading duo.
Where do you think the Commodores have the advantage around this track, Dick? They're so strong here, particularly the Mobile Holden Racing team.
Well, it certainly is, and obviously a lot of these guys have been utilising Bridgestone tyres for some time, and to understand a tyre is a huge plus. But around this track, it's, you know, you can change tyres and it makes an enormous difference to the car.
Yep.
Russell Ingle, 2 times a winner at Mount Panorama and a bridesmaid in the Shell Championship Series on several occasions. Wants to turn it around in 2000. Yesterday, a good start to things, but I'll tell you what, not the best of starts at Phillip Island.
He's got to do it too, because Phillip Island is a shocker. He's 31st in the championship. He's got no points from the island. In this round last year, he qualified 13th. He got 11th overall. So things have started much better for the enforcer, and he has to start getting those points together, because this championship is so tight and so competitive, you can't afford to drop the points.
Well, Ingle got a 4th yesterday, in behind Garth Tander, who finished 3rd, and the HRT duo 1 and 2. Look at the field as they stream down the hill. Then it's hard on the brakes for the right-hander, and onto the start-finish straight. This is a real freight train in behind Mark Larkham. Barbagallo, Stephen Johnson's up there, so too Tony Longhurst and Paul Morris tagging on to the back of the pack. Don't forget, of course, the Clipsal 500 coming up on the streets of Adelaide early in April. What a sensational event that was last year, and the organisers are tipping it to be even bigger and better in 2000.
Well, it's a great battle here behind Mark Larkham. Larkham now sitting in 6th position, so this is effectively the battle for 6th, and involves a number of cars. Larkham, Barbagallo, Steve Johnson, Tony Longhurst, Paul Morris climbing onto the back as well. In-car camera looking out the back of the Mitre 10 Ford. As Jason Barbagallo tries to claw back those 2 positions he lost. Didn't see why he lost them, but now he's paying a heavy penalty. He's got Stephen Johnson breathing down his neck in the second of the Shell Fords.
Bargs is using all of the track too. We saw there on the exit of Kolb Corner, he ran right over the white line. Larkham looking focused for the entry to the start. Finished straight here at Barbagallo. And tucked in behind him is Barbagallo. Stephen Johnson incredibly close, Dick.
I tell you what, you cannot afford to make one little mistake, because the moment you do that, that's what happens. You get a bit of push and shove, and you get your nose up in there, and you...
Talk about push and shove, it's all going on here. John Faulkner, Dougal McDougall in the Pepsi Commodore. Look at this, Mark Poole coming for the ride as well in the John Deere Commodore. So this trio are all prepared to trade paint.
Yes, excuse me.
I think there are a few elbows out coming down the straight there. Bit of Bifford Barge, everyone's sorting position, 3 wide at one stage. Mark Poole looks like he's run a little bit wide on the exit there on the John Deere Commodore. The new Team Asia online Commodore, John Faulkner. Great to see the internet company on board, backing this guy. Car looking pretty competitive in its opening appearance at Barbagallo.
Well, Barbagallo, you know, traditionally has produced some fantastic racing over the years, and with the cars being that close, it's just incredible.
4 laps to go in this one, folks. Holden Racing Team 1 and 2 out in front of the field. Lowndes from Scaife, Ingle in 3rd, Tander 4th, Paul Radisich 5th, the first of the Fords, and then it's Mark Larkham looking a little further back in the pack at the moment of this battle between Baird and Faulkner and Poole. 18th, 19th and 20th. Have a go at this. John Bow and Rodney Forbes dicing away as well.
It's just incredible, isn't it, when you look at how competitive and how topsy-turvy this championship is. Craig Baird, the winner of Heat 2 at Phillip Island in February, now finds himself battling for a place in the top 20.
Had a rough run as well at the Grand Prix support races, so bear in mind this is really his first visit to the West. First time out on the Barbagallo Circuit. John Bow in the Cat Falcon has a look at his rear view mirror just to see who's in behind him. You can see in front of him Neil Crompton.
Bow's back in 24th position at the moment. Just shows how hard it is. He started right on the back of the grid. 3 laps remaining after that power steering problem. And I guess, Dick Johnson, we talk about consistency in championships.
Oh, McLean.
Cameron McLean.
In the bunker.
Not sure what part of the track that is. That's two involved.
That's happened there in the same place. Cameron McConville went off. Now it looks as though that's Stephen Richards that's gone off there as well with him. So both Richards and McLean have come off, and the Greenfield Mowers Falcon is buried well and truly in the trap.
He certainly is, and you can see how it stops you, because like, that's hardly even gone off the racetrack there.
He's buried it so deep, it looks like he's snowed in. He couldn't get the driver's door open. He's going to go out through the passenger door.
I think mandatory tools to have around here is a bucket and spade.
Now I guess the question is, what will the officials do? That's where Cameron McConville went off before. They brought out the safety car for that. Word from the pits is they're going to keep a yellow flag out there only and allow this race to continue. This is what's happening at the front. Craig Lowndes continuing on his way, hopefully, he thinks, towards victory. 2 laps to go for the youngster, and in behind him, his teammate, Mark Scaife.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea just waving a local yellow there so the drivers can't overtake. As they come past that, they know it's there.
Radisich is right on top of Contender now, so this will be pretty interesting.
He's been very quick in the race, Dick, just watching his times. Consistently one of the fastest cars on the track.
So Russell continues his way through Shell Corner. Let's take a look at the Shell Helix replay of this incident.
He's obviously just got it wrong under brakes.
I was going to say, I didn't see the Kmart car there. So
well, it could well be something on the racetrack there, although it hasn't affected anyone else.
Let's have a look at this from above, Dick.
Locked up rears.
Now wait for Richards. Where's he?
He's still coming, but it won't be long.
Driver error there. Maybe someone has dumped something on the circuit. Don't see any oil flags out there.
Well, the way it's going at the moment, it's going to be a carbon copy, almost, in terms of the top 2 of yesterday. Lowndes leading Scaife. The difference for 3rd place at the moment as we start the last lap. They're on their way home. Russell Ingall is in 3rd, ahead of Garth Tander.
2.4 kilometres, or less than 2.4 remaining. Positions remaining fairly static. How tough it is to pass Barbagallo Raceway, particularly when the cars are so evenly matched. There's Larry Perkins, Glenn Seaton back in there behind Baird. So that's the battle for 15th position. Look at John Bow.
He's getting a bit of a touch up there.
Rodney Forbes is prepared to mix it in the Wins Commodore. Let's take a closer look at Glenn Seaton. This might give us an idea of what happened to Stephen Richards.
He's done exactly the same. He's just locked up rear brakes. And it's so easy to do there.
Why is that? Is that because the corner's a bit off camber and it can catch you out?
Well, the track actually comes downhill into the braking area and then starts to rise up again. And when it starts to level out is where the rear brakes come unstuck.
Well, this is where they are on the circuit now, the very same corner. Craig Lowndes leading the field, and he'll greet the checkered flag this time around, nice and sideways for the Holden Racing team. Lowndes takes it out. Well done to the youngster. Another win from Mark Scaife, 3rd home, and points on the board. Valuable points too for Russell Ingall. Then it's Garth Tander, and first to the Fords home. Well done to Paul Radisich.
Well, Paul, you know, he's been struggling with car setup all weekend, and hopefully he's just found something they can make it a bit better with, because they did very well on the warm-up, and I think their race results and their consistency in times made a difference.
And the key thing is, Dick, he's just getting those points. Every time he's out there, he's getting points, and that's how you got to win the championship.
Well, it takes a while to sort of get these guys to learn that, but that's certainly the case.
Well, let's check them out after 22 laps. Craig Lowndes, your winner from Mark Scaife. Russell Ingall, Garth Tander, Paul Radisich home 5th, 2nd of the Fords, Mark Larkham, a great effort. We go further back, Morris, Murphy, Wheel and Ellery. What a terrific race. We'll take a short break and come back here to Barbagallo. So for Craig Lowndes, he finished victorious ahead of Mark Scaife. Garth Tander home 4th, Radisich 5th. Some real movers and changes through the field for you. Paul Wheel up to 12th. That's a great result for the youngster. Craig Baird 14th, and John Faulkner from the rear of the grid like Baird moved up to 17th. But down in pit lane right now, here's Mark Osler with Russell Ingall.
Well, Russell Ingall, congratulations on taking 3rd position, but gee, that looks like hard work.
Oh, absolutely. I tell you what, everything's so close. Like I see Tander looming up there, and we were pretty even, but HRT has still got that little bit more, so we'll have a bit of a change in the next one and see if we can peg them back a bit.
It was quite impressive the way you were hanging on to them before the safety car came out. The gap was only like 1.5 seconds. They weren't really climbing away from you, were they?
No, I mean, it's always encouraging. I mean, we're starting to get top on this thing. Old Larry's bar must be working a bit better in the old rig. So, no, look, we're getting there, but we just need a little bit more. Wanneroo, one of the toughest circuits to set up for, so we're fairly happy.
And you keep getting those championship points, mate. You've got to get some.
Well, after the Phillip Island disaster, I need some points, I can tell you. So, no, very happy, and we're sort of creeping back up the pointy end again.
Well, watch with interest.
We'll be there.
Don't forget, trackside returns to your home of motorsport next weekend. A feast of racing coming your way from both Barbagallo and Phillip Island. And then, of course, a week later, we're off to Eastern Creek Raceway in Sydney for the first round of the V8 Lights Championship. Well, Ford are returning in 2000 with a sensational competition, a chance for you to win one of the cars in the Great Get. Mark Scaife yesterday set a new qualifying lap record. Craig Lowndes is the reigning lap record holder at the circuit. But this weekend, we're celebrating a very special milestone. And Dick Johnson caught up with Larry Perkins yesterday.
Thanks, Greg. I'm down here in the pits with long-time V8 Supercar driver, Larry Perkins. And it has been a long time, Larry, hasn't it?
Well, a long time since when? I know it's a long time since I started. Started way back in 1950 on this day, so 50 years.
do older guys go faster, or they just keep dwindling away?
Well, in your case, you just dwindled away, and I don't want to do that. So if I'm starting to dwindle away, tell me.
Larry, I don't want to tell you right now, but you're obviously getting older, so things are starting to happen differently. And you've seen a lot of changes, I suppose, over that period of time?
Well, for sure, yeah. When I started racing, the gear lever was on the outside of the car. But no, a lot of changes, all for the good too, I reckon. And but look, I'm hanging in there, and I'm not giving up just because the old clock's hit that 50.
Well, listen, obviously you've caused a fair bit of controversy over the years, you know, and of late, the Larry Perkins bar, and now we've got the bars in our cars, and other people have got them in their cars, and now they're trying to get rid of them. What's the story?
Well, it's really funny. Look, I put this bar in Russell's car, and no one's checked it yet, but would you believe it's a plastic bar? I haven't got one in my own car. And it's funny how you can start trends like this, you see. And anyway, look, it's a lot of controversy over nothing, you know, this Larry's bar, crikeys, you know. There's only one spot there should be Larry's bar, and it ain't in a race car.
Well, maybe it might help your car this weekend. You're having a bit of a trouble with the rear end floating around the place?
Yeah, I am actually, and I was going to come and see you about that. Oh, God.
Did you? To you. Happy birthday, dear Larry. Happy birthday to you. Hooray! Hooray! Hooray!
God bless.
Well, mate, that's well done, but I tell you...
Thank you, gentlemen.
It's obviously this weekend is this your birthday this weekend, Larry?
Well, I have heard that. I've had the phone ringing, and I've had the kids on the phone, and you name it. It must be something about that. Yeah.
Well, listen, how many times have you been 50?
A lot. Well, I've had a lot of birthdays. Only one time 50, though.
Now, finally, what I'd like to say is, are you going to do the same as me? Because you've got a long way to go if you have, and that's wait till your son's old enough to take your place. You're going to be around for a while.
Well, according to my young bloke, he says, Dad, don't you dare retire till I drive with you at Bathurst. Now, I said, Jack, I don't reckon I'll let a 65-year-old drive at Bathurst, but I'll be around for a while. I'm not giving up just because the clock's moving on.
Well done, Guy, and I hope you have a good day tomorrow.
Thank you, Dick. Much appreciated.
We're back at Barbagallo Race 3, about to get underway in round 2 of the Shell Championship Series. An absolutely huge crowd from the west are here to watch all of today's racing action, and they're not going to be disappointed either. We'll take a look for you at the race standings, if you like, in terms of after 2 races. Lowndes is top of the points for this round, 80 points. His teammate Mark Scaife just 6 points or 8 points in arrears. And it's Garth Tander and Russell Ingall tied for 3rd place. Bradisic and Barguana 58 and 56 points respectively. As the field make their way around the Barbagallo layout, we'll take a look at how they line up for the final race of the day. Craig Lowndes and Mark Scaife, front row again. Russell Ingall and Garth Tander on row 2.
Paul Bradisic started 7th, 6th, so he's having a consistent day, you could say. Jason Barguana and Stephen Johnson starts out of 8th.
You might notice the yellow boxes to the right-hand side of your screen. Box 1 is where they qualified for race 1. Where they started for race 2 is the box furthest on the right. Longhurst and Morris, row 5. Murphy and Wheel, row 6.
Stephen Ellery, Craig Baird alongside. He had a bad day today. Qualified 11th, but 28th. He started race 2. Clawed his way back to 14th, so he's had an up-and-down sort of day. Larry Perkins and Glenn Seaton struggling with setup. He's back in 16th.
We go further back and take a look at row 9. John Faulkner lines up alongside Mark Poole, and Dougal McDougall in the Pepsi Racing Commodore alongside Steve Reed on row 10.
Neil Crompton hovering around the back of the top 20 all weekend, really. He'll start out at 21. John Bower, good recovery from those steering box dramas. He'll start out at 22. Rodney Forbes and Trevor Ashby.
Brad Jones, the Aussie Male Racing Falcon, on row 13 alongside another Falcon in the hands of Anthony Tratt. Then it's Thomas Mazira and Paul Romano on row 14.
Mick Donoghue and the Altitude TDK machine. Cameron McLean alongside Stephen Richards in the Kmart Commodore, and Cameron McConville, so spin out in race 2. He'll start from 32, last position on the grid. A tough day for the Auto Pro team.
Well, Dick Johnson, your team has been working away feverishly. Have they made some changes for this final race?
Well, I think the key to winning these V8 Supercar races is actually knowing how to change your car as the weather changes throughout the day, and that's what happens between heats 1, 2 and 3. The setups of the cars differ significantly.
I guess a lot of the Ford fans will be frustrated this year, Dick. They're waiting for the results. They want to see these Falcons winning some races. Last year, the team said they were quite difficult to set up or quite inconsistent in their results. Is it still that way with the car?
They're a very difficult car to understand, and I think that now that we're getting more time with the car and the more races we do, the more we learn about it. And I think you'll find they'll start working their way towards the front of the field.
This is a 20-lapper, folks. Interesting point of interest for you. Mark Scaife and Garth Tander currently lead the Shell Championship Series. At the conclusion of race 2, they both have 174 points. So this third race is really going to be crucial in terms of determining who our championship leader will be after 2 rounds. There is Mark Scaife. His teammate Craig Lowndes continuing his dominant performance, winning races 1 and 2 here. Who will win race 3? We've got a green flag at the back of the pack. Listen to them rising, the revs that is, of the V8 Supercars. Will it be Lowndes? Will it be Scaife? We're set to go racing here at Barbagallo. Oh, and a bit of a creep on the line there from Scaife. Lowndes, a brilliant start though. Look at Radicic trying to dive through the field. Ingle's got the door covered. Lowndes again blasts away.
Oh, he's a phenomenal starter, isn't he? 3 from 3. He's just got the jump on his teammate. Those two so close in performance, but it's so critical, that first 100 or 200 metre sprint down to turn 1. Lowndes has done it again.
We've seen a good battle going on here between Tander and Russell Ingle. Tander gets shuffled back one. Ingle, the enforcer, muscles his way past as they come through the S's now through Shell Corner and heading for the run to Kolb Corner, this huge field of V8s.
Well, with Ingle sitting up there, I think you're going to see some action because he doesn't like coming second, I can tell you that much.
Status quo returns in heat 3. 4 Commodores. 1, 2, 3, 4. First of the Falcons in 5th. Paul Radicic. Consistent performance all day in the Shell Ford as this big field sweeps up into 6th gear. 250 kilometres an hour on the approach. The uphill brake as they come down toward pit straight for the first line. Bit of a challenge, yeah.
Barbagallo throwing out a challenge to Larkham on the run to the start-finish straight. Stephen Johnson also trying to come for the ride with Barbagallo. Barbagallo not quick enough on the back of Larkham. And Larkham all the time trying to chase down Paul Radicic. This is a huge freight train. Stephen Johnson through. Stephen Johnson has made his way past Tander. Look at this. Tony Longhurst trying to come with him. 3 wide. Goodness me, there's contact right, left and centre there. Barbagallo rather hanging on to it, and oh, goodness knows only how.
Oh, look at this. They're all leaning on each other, elbow to elbow, as they come over the hill for the second time. Longhurst on the outside, but now that puts him on the inside for the next turn. So, plenty of cut and thrust in the opening lap as they fight for position, every position crucial.
And Murphy's moved up too. He's behind Steve.
Greg Murphy's certainly making a good fist of things here. We can see Stephen Ellery there as well in the Super Cheap Falcon. Had some troubles earlier in the day, but hopefully they've been able to fix that car and get it on the pace. You can see Tony Longhurst trying to make his way around the Super Cheap Falcon. Now Murphy all over the back of Paul Radicic, and Wheel is coming for the ride with Longhurst. This is a huge freight train of 4 attack between Wheel and Longhurst. And Wheel hangs on to it.
That is disgusting.
Road rage. V8 Supercars. No one was going to give away there. They were into each other half a dozen times before they sorted that one out. Look at Faulkner up the inside in the Asia Online Commodore. He's giving the John Deere Commodore plenty of grief as they come up toward the S's.
And that's actually just the nature of the racetrack. The thing is, when you get up beside somebody like that, you've got to give the other competitor a bit of racing room. You know, if you're clearly done, you don't run people off the road.
Larry Perkins and John Bow are in behind this group as well. So those wily older competitors just waiting for a mistake from some of these young'uns up the front. Seaton holding out Poole at the moment.
Seaton in 15th position. This is the battle for 15th. And look at this continuing barge between Garth Tander and Russell Ingle.
Tander's managed to get back around Ingle, so that's a good move. Ingle had him early on the first lap.
And look out, here comes the Rat.
Here comes your man, the Rat, they call him. And he's really got his head down this weekend. Let's have a look at the Shell Helix replay, Dick.
Well, look at that. Like, the guy is clearly up to the A-pillar, and he's just driving him off the road. And if it had been me, I would have kept my foot into it and turned him around.
how nobody came off there is amazing.
Well, look at this. You know, that's just not on, that sort of stuff.
Tony Longhurst.
Lucky that they both were able to continue. It looked like Wall was about to lose control of Spear across in front of the field. He managed to gather it up. Unfortunately, they've been able to continue. But no one's being able to do anything this weekend about the two flying red Commodores at the front of this field. The Mobile Holden Racing team continuing to dominate in the West. Look at this challenge down the inside by Paul Wheel as they come under brakes up the inside of Baird in the Pertec Ford. Winner of race 2 of round 1, but he's struggling for speed.
It just shows you how important it is to qualify in these sort of races, because we're in a situation here where I think that if race 2 was a...
Oh! Seaton was up there trying to go with Baird, and it's all come unstuck for him at Cat Corner.
Whew. That's almost a replay of last year.
Yeah. What, did he just go in a bit too hot under brakes, Dick, or what?
I think he gets his nose up in the insides and didn't sort of carry on with the move because the other car came across on top of him.
Well, it's been a pretty bad weekend for Glenn Seaton so far in terms of results, running around the middle of the pack, and now he's gone right to the back of it.
That is not where Glenn Seaton wanted to be in the Ford Tickford Racing Falcon. A lot of work to do. He drops to the back of the pack. At the front, though, it's Lowndes and Scaife. Lowndes leads it from his teammate. Let's take a closer look.
He's just gone in pretty hot and half up beside the other car, just not quite enough to sort of execute the move.
I think we've got a shot from the inside as well, Dick. Have a look at this. Another view.
Well, he's not exactly left a lot of room either, is he? What he's done, he's tried to avoid the Pertec car, and he's jumped on the brakes a bit harder and has locked the rear wheels.
Yeah.
This has not been the weekend for the Ford Tickford Racing team when you consider that Neil Crompton is down in 20th, and now his teammate Glenn Seaton all the way at the back of the pack. This is what's happening up front, though, folks. Craig Lowndes heading, hopefully he thinks, for 3 from 3 here at Barbagallo this weekend and maintaining his unbeaten record. That is unbelievable. His teammate Scaife in second, Tander in third. Now Russell Ingall, who sits in 4th place. And this is another battle going on further back. Radicic, Larkham, Morris and Bargwanna. Look at Morris driving defensive. Bargwanna looking for a line as they come down to the start finish straight. Morris shuts the door.
I think Big Kev took a shortcut somewhere.
He's showing a lot of speed in that car, the older VS model Commodore. Quite impressive speed for his first season. Look at this down the inside. Oh, Bargwanna really had to stand the car on its nose. Amazed he didn't lock up his rear brakes.
Yeah, so he could have capitalised on that had he been close enough.
Yeah.
And see the gap now that Mark Larkham's pulled out on him.
Yeah, whenever these get two cars getting involved in a bit of fisticuffs, it always slows them down. And as the car in front to pull away, and Bargwanna trying desperately to find his way past the big Kev machine. So the order at the moment, Lowndes and Scaife, 1.9 seconds up the road from Tander, who's got Ingall a couple of seconds behind him. Then Radicic, Larkham, Morris, Bargwanna, Murphy up in the top 10 now. And Stephen Ellery in the Super Cheap Autos Falcon, he climbs into the top 10.
Well, the Gary Rogers Motorsport Commodore, Jason Bargwanna, sporting the battle scars. The 27-year-old now resides in Melbourne and driving 11/10 here in this race. Look at him again, having another go at Paul Morris. And he just can't quite get through. You'll remember that Jason broke through for that historic win last year at Winton. Won 3 from 3 there. Look at him again.
Be interesting to see if that was Neil Crompton, what would happen.
Bargwanna trying to find a way around, but this Commodore's going right down the middle of the road in front of him, not leaving an opportunity to stick the nose alongside. So Bargwanna getting frustrated. His teammate Tander up there in third, some 2.1 seconds behind the Mobile Holden Racing team. And Bargwanna finds himself back in the pack. This is 8th position of the car 35, the Valvoline Cummins machine.
Bargwanna now coming under pressure from Murphy. You can see Greg Murphy in the background there in the Kmart Commodore, so he's tagged on to the back of this trio. There's a good shot of you for you of the lead. Stephen Ellery, that's a shame. He was running in 10th place in the Super Cheap Falcon and looking very good. They'd had problems with his car, and they'd done some work on it between race 2 and race 3, and it was looking good in 10th place, but it's all come unstuck for him.
Bradley Jones in 22nd position there, disappearing over the hill in the Aussie Mail Ford. He's been all at sea this weekend. The team don't have a lot of data to go on with that car, so they're sort of learning as they go. It just shows how tough it is. Holden Racing team rubbing their noses in it this weekend.
Well, they're certainly in a class of their own, Mark.
They really are, aren't they? And Lowndes heading, this could be a perfect score. 12 wins from 12 starts. If he brings it across the line this time, this man still has never been beaten at Barbagallo Raceway. Unbelievable record.
12 race victories, and of course he's heading at this stage certainly for 4 round wins from 4 starts as well. Oh, look at this, Stephen Johnson there, a big brake lock-up, down into cold corner. 4 Ford Falcons here battling away, Longhurst and Wheel.
They're back together again.
They certainly are, they're at it again.
Be interesting.
Yeah, this will be interesting as they come under brakes down the end of the main straight. Here we go, look at Wheel, he's weaving all over the place. He wants another bite at Longhurst. Oh, Mark Poole.
In the bunker.
The John Deere Commodore. He's been having quite a competitive weekend. That's not the way he would have want to finish the day. And he is miles out in the Sahara there.
Actually, he's that far out, I don't think they'll even bother to bring a pace car out.
No, he's a long way off the racing line. That's at the cold corner. Yellow flags, stationary yellow flags to warn the cars. That car is down at the bottom.
Now, interesting there, Mark. Looks as though Jason Barguana has gotten around Paul Morris. So something's happened there.
And here comes Murphy.
And Murphy, yeah, coming along for the ride as well. So Morris. Former Super Touring competitors. Murphy straight down the inside. Well, I've got to say, Morris left the door open there.
Bigger door, you could put a Mack truck through that one.
So they work over the hill once again. Murphy moving his way forward, and I wonder maybe if Paul Morris has perhaps some sort of problem.
Well, I'll be interested to see what happened there, because Murph snuck under Paul Morris, and I think there might have been a yellow flag showing there for
Mark Poole.
For Mark Poole's car. So I'll be interested to see if the stewards have another look at that one.
Well, he might just cop a black flag, or unless he lets Morris past again.
Because if Morris had the door wide open, I wouldn't have thought he'd normally do that. So we'll find out whether there'll be any action against that. Hopefully for Murphy, it won't be the case, because he's had a terrible weekend. I was talking to him before this race. He just said, mate, we just don't know what we've got to do to make this car work. It's understeering into corners, it's oversteering out of corners. We can't get any balance or good traction into the car. And it looks like it's going very strongly in this final heat.
We are around about half race distance, lap 11 of 20. Let's check them for you. Craig Lowndes is your race leader from teammate Mark Scaife at the moment. Welcome back to Barbagallo. We are on the downhill run towards the end of race 3. Problems there for John Bowe. He's had a spin. That looks like it's on the exit of Cold Corner, so it's not been the weekend for the Caterpillar Falcon, or John Bowe for that matter. Lowndes continues to lead from Mark Scaife, but the interesting piece of news is that Garth Tander is closing.
Yeah, just watching his lap times the last time around, he's just been taking a few tenths of a second out of the Holden Racing team. Now, whether they are just backing it off to win at the slowest possible speed, no one knows. But Tander, there he is. The Valvoline Cummins machine just starting to zero in on the back of Mark Scaife's car.
Well, this will give Craig a bit of an opportunity to pull some fresh air between himself and Mark Scaife.
It's just falling into his hands, isn't it?
It certainly is at this point.
Well, Tander made it clear heading into this round that he wanted to put on a strong show for the local fans. He led the championship heading into this round, following his 2 second places at Phillip Island. This is home turf for the 22-year-old, and he wanted to walk away, if he could, with at least 1 race win.
Let's have a look at this again, Dick.
Well, Cameron McLean's obviously got himself up inside Steve Reed, and he's obviously not going to give up. But I think Steve Reed cops a bit of a like that on the front wheel, and I think that the front wheel then locks up.
Now, this has happened during our ad break, folks, for those of you that may not have seen it.
And he's turned the steering wheel and goes straight ahead.
Ah, okay, he's broken something in the front end. That was a big hit, wasn't it?
It certainly was.
I think that's put pay to Steve Reed's day. Now, we're also getting word from the pits. That's Neil Crompton coming in, so the disastrous weekend for Neil Crompton just continues. In fact, for that matter, it's been a disastrous week when you consider what happened at the Grand Prix. Look at this, Tander all over the back of Scaife and going for it for the run down pit straight. We've got 6 laps to go, and look at this down the inside. Tander makes a move on Scaife and takes second place. The Gary Rogers Motorsport driver, the fans cheer. Tander, the local lad, is through.
22-year-old from Perth. What a great performance. Well, that wasn't anything that the Holden Racing team would have planned. Garth Tander's done that on pure merit. He's ground him down. Scaife the first to go. Can he catch Craig Lowndes before this race is over? He's flying in the Valvoline Cummins car.
Well, I think Scaife has obviously got a bit of a problem there somewhere on the line, because his car is starting to go a bit slower. Whether his tyres are starting to go on him or what, one would never know, but it certainly hasn't made any effect to Garth Tander. He's smoking on.
Yeah, quite right there. Tander is now going to try and close the gap to Lowndes, but while all that battling was going on between Lowndes and Scaife, you should be able to get a shot of it here, because Lowndes has managed to gallop away, and with the laps counting down, can Tander close that gap? There it is. That's a graphic shot of it.
Oh, I think he's got a fair sort of a task in front of him to close his gap on Craig.
5 laps remaining. Oh! Jason Barbagallo's gone. Well, goodness me. He'd been driving, I guess, in some respects, Mark, at 11 tenths today, really going at it hammer and tong. And that is hard luck. Now, we get word from the pits also that Neil Crompton, who we saw in the pits a few moments ago, had contact with John Bow. So that has put paid to Neil Crompton. So, well, look at Barbagallo having a go at the berth.
Oh, no!
Oh, no!
Oh, he's having a shocker.
Oh, guess where he's going to visit this afternoon.
Dear, oh dear.
Larry Perkins.
The birthday boy yesterday, and not a happy way for him to end his weekend either.
Mate, they have no respect for 50-year-olds, I can tell you.
That's getting served up big time. Perkins just left the slightest little gap on the inside. Barbagallo had 2 wheels on the grass.
Well,
just kept driving it through.
More than 2 wheels on the grass in a minute.
The Asia Online Commodore, John Faulkner. He sweeps past Barbagallo as he tries to gather it all up. And Faulkner now, that'll move him up a couple of positions, just inside the top 15.
Oh! Barbagallo again, sideways on the exit of Cold Corner. 4 laps remain in this one, folks. Lowndes, Tander, 1 and 2 on the road at the moment. Scape and Ingle, 3rd and 4th. First to the forwards is Radicic. Look at this. That is Bargs.
Whoa!
Oh, boy.
Oh, how lucky was that?
Yeah. Oh, well.
There we go.
Now, what's happened there, Dick?
Well, he's got out on the marbles a little bit, and the Mitre 10 car went straight underneath him, clearly, and he's just lost it.
Nice piece of evasive action from Greg Murphy as well. How he didn't get caught up in that, I don't know.
Well, I can tell you, when you got 2 a turn and 2 a burn, and you're not going to sort of go anywhere but backwards.
Wins Commodore of Rodney Forbes, the Sydney privateer, and the 3rd of the Gibson Motorsport prepared cars. He comes in for new rubber, and he's probably a victim of the troubles that a lot of the teams have been having this weekend. This understeer problem really been taking its toll on the tyres. Front right tyre was the problem we hear from pits, but Rodney gets back into the race. 3 laps remaining for our race leader.
See, there's not a lot of difference in power between any of these cars, and there's no advantage in the straights like there has been years ago with the old Group A and things like that. And of course, these cars now are running on the new Optimax fuel, which seems to be working quite well.
Well, counting down towards the finish, there is 3rd place at the moment. Mark Scape, the man who was blindingly quick in qualifying, a new qualifying lap record. Don't forget, of course, folks, you can check out all the latest programming information on 10 on the website.
Stop-go, no,
he's got some problems. Just the way he was sliding all over the place there, there's probably damage to the car. They're just checking a tyre or front brake or something on the front end of the car, so things not working right in car 35 for Barbagallo. 2 seconds, the gap now between Lowndes and Tander. Lowndes just stamping his authority on this race. 2 laps to go. A 59.66 for our race leader, a 59.97 for Tander. He's pulled 3 tenths on him. So we're probably just getting a little bit too close for comfort, Dick.
Well, this is certainly going to turn into a fantastic event at Adelaide, I think. The Clipsal 500 in Adelaide will be absolutely blinded with the cars being this close.
Oh, Larry Perkins, that's at Cold Corner.
Well, that's what happens when you get over 50, I think.
Over the limit. Oh, Larry, he's been out off the scenery a bit this race.
Oh, I think the steam would still be coming out of his ears.
So Russell Ingall sitting back there in 4th position. A lonely race. Paul Radicic was all over him earlier, but the Shell Challenge has cooled a little. So Ingall now has a little bit of breathing space.
Oh, boy, he's been done twice.
Oh, gosh.
Like that Paul Romano.
Another young bloke.
Yeah, oh, well, as I say, they have no respect.
Yeah, happy birthday, Larry. No respect. No respect
for their elders whatsoever.
So Larry has another taste of the sand.
Now we're on our way home, folks. 1 lap left to go. Craig Lowndes from Garth Tander. Mark Scape sits in 3rd. Ingle 4th. There's your man who is in 5th place at the moment in the Shell Helix Falcon, Paul Radicic. Doing a great job flying the flag for the Blue Oval fans. Murphy in 7th. That's a great recovery for him considering his weekend thus far. Morris in 8th. Stephen Johnson 9th, and Longhurst rounds out the top 10.
Well, Lowndes is well in control. It's now 2.4 seconds the gap. He was just playing with that over the last couple of laps, just pumped it out a little bit to give himself a bit more breathing space. So Tander, even though he's on the march there, looks like Lowndes has responded magnificently in the last 2 laps. So he is well in control of this one.
But I tell you what, at the end of this evening, I think the stewards are going to be very, very busy.
I think so.
Craig Lowndes brings it towards the start-finish straight for the final time, in behind yesterday's birthday boy, Larry Perkins, but it's going to be Craig Lowndes, 3 from 3. Congratulations. Takes out another round victory. Garth Tander will finish second. Mark Skate finishes third. Russell Ingall fourth, and Radicic fifth. That is a fantastic result for Craig Lowndes. Well done to the youngster.
Well, that's fantastic, actually. You know, he's done a magnificent job. Obviously, for all the races he's had around here, it's been tremendous.
So there he is, making his way around past the fans. And there's Garth Tander, the local guy who finished second. He really threw out his best challenge today. Now we'll check the round winners for you. And Craig Lowndes, of course, is the round winner. 3 from 3. Mark Scape home second. And Garth Tander, the local, finishes third. So that's how they finished in terms of round 2 of the Shell Championship Series.
It's a great effort by the young guy who's really kept his head and drove very sensibly, put on a very good passing move on Mark Scape to actually come second outright in the third heat.
Great job also by Paul Radicic, the first of the Fords home. Gee, he worked for his money this weekend, Dick.
I tell you what, he's been working for his money for quite some time because, you know, the car's, as I said, not quite right yet. But when he gets it right, I can assure you he'll take it up to the Holden guys.
Here's how they finished in race 3 of round 2 of the championship. Craig Lowndes from Garth Tander, Mark Scape home third, Russell Ingall fourth, Radicic first to the Fords, then it's Larkham, Murphy and Morris.
West, let's take a look at the results at the end of race 3 for you. And there they are. Craig Lowndes, your winner. Fantastic effort. Garth Tander, a well-deserved second place for the Gary Rogers Motorsport team. And Mark Scape getting home third. Some good performances also by the Ford drivers, particularly Paul Radicic in the Shell Helix Falcon. Well, on the podium now is Mark Osler with some pretty happy Holden drivers.
Well, the more things change, the more things stay the same. Despite the introduction of control tyres last year and a renewed push by Ford, Holden remains the dominant force in the West. The third part of that equation, 3 Holden winners today, is Garth Tander, the local boy. Nothing wrong with that, eh?
Yeah, how good's that? The car was really, really good in that last one. We made a few changes between races and made it a lot better. Would have liked to have the car like that at the start of the weekend. We might have been giving those red cars a run for their money. But thanks to our guys, to Valvoline, Cummins and Holden for sticking behind us, and we're looking forward to the next one for sure.
I'll tell you what, consistency pays off because that still leaves you 2 points ahead in the championship chase.
Yeah, it's still a long way to go though. We've got a lot of races ahead of us, and we'll just keep going the way we're going, and we've got to find a bit more speed to catch the red cars. But once we do that, we're feeling pretty confident towards the end of the year.
Put your hands together, folks. Garth Tander, local hero in WA. I'm sure we'll see a lot more from him in season 2000. Of course, another runaway win by the Holden Racing team. And the second part of that equation was, of course, pole position man, Mark Scape. Wow, that looked like hard work out there. I guess the starts are so critical when you and Craig are so evenly matched.
Well, I said to the guys, before that race, when we were doing a debrief, that you'd reckon that I could make 1 out of 3 starts, but I effectively failed. But, I mean, it was really good. The car was really good other than the last sort of 10 laps of that race. And obviously, our cars have, Lowndesy's the man to beat here. Obviously, he hasn't lost a bloody race here. So, it's been a really good result.
Garth really came storming through toward the end there. What, the tyres going off at the end?
Yeah, they weren't that fresh, I've got to say. And when he got to me, I really couldn't do much about him, but I obviously needed the points and didn't really want to get caught up in a battle. But, to our guys and to Holden and to Mobil and the rest of our sponsors, obviously, to come here again and have a 1-2, it's a pretty happy hunting ground for us.
Pretty good. Put your hands together, folks. Mark Scape, second place today. Right now, the big moment we've all been waiting for, I call on Ross Brodie, the motorsport manager for Shell, to make the presentation. He's got a perfect score here in V8 Supercars. 12 race starts, 12 race wins. Craig Lowndes. Now, what are you doing out there? No one seems to be able to touch you. What's your secret?
Well, I guess the guys, it's a credit to the guys if they've obviously got a good mix here. Obviously, Wanneroo suits us, and that last race, definitely the tyres were going away, and Garth was catching us. He managed to catch and pass Mark, but really we had to dig deep and really didn't have a lot left. So, we did a fantastic to the guys. Mobil, Holden and Bridgestone really did a great job for us today, and really we're going to go on to the rest of the year and hopefully have a good one.
So I'll tell you what, you got those starts sorted out.
Well, I guess, like Mark, we've been trying to get them right since the VT, introduction of VT. It really hasn't been a really good, strong point with me, and really, I guess I've been trying to practice that, and it's come off well for this weekend. Adelaide's to come and the rest of the year.
Look forward to that, folks. Put your hands together, folks. Craig Lowndes, the winner of round 2. The Adelaide 500 lies ahead.
2 rounds down to the championship, 11 to go, and the championship point score looks like this. Garth Tander, top of proceedings on 210 points, just 2 clear of Mark Scape, so a pretty slender lead. Lowndes 28 points further in arrears. Radicic is in 4th place and leading a pack of 6 Ford drivers. And another point of interest for you is Russell Ingall. He had no points at Phillip Island, but he's back and looking good now. He's 10th in the championship. Well, Dick Johnson, what a round it has been here at Barbagallo Raceway. We've seen plenty of action.
We certainly have, and like, you've got to give it to Craig. 12 out of 12, that's a fantastic result. It's a difficult circuit to win on. It's a difficult circuit to pass on, as we've seen. So there's always a lot of body contact, but it just shows you just how important qualifying really is.
As I guess Mark Osler mentioned on the podium, roll on Adelaide.
Roll on Adelaide, that's going to be a totally different race to the ones we've seen in the past, because they're longer races. It gives you a chance to settle down, to be able to sort of have a really good race plan and strategy, plus the fact that we've got involving a whole team with pit stops and everything.
Mate, great to have you with us. Thanks for joining us in the commentary this weekend. It's been greatly appreciated.
Well, look out, Barry, here I come.
All right, plenty more motorsport coming up here on your home of Motorsport Network 10. We go from 4 wheels to 2 tonight. The return of the bikes, the 500cc's, the 250s and the 125s, they are back. Join Daryl Beattie, Bill Woods and of course Barry Sheen for all the action from South Africa. Trackside of course, and Eastern Creek Raceway more specifically for round 1 of the V8 Lights Championship late in March. That is going to be just sensational, and that's not the only thing we've got coming for you motorsport wise. As Dick mentioned, the Clipsal 500 around the streets of Adelaide. It was sensational in 1999. In 2000, it is auguring to be even better. On behalf of Dick Johnson, Mark Osler and our hard-working motorsport crew here in the West, it's bye for now.